quiet seaside town, an evil lain to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
That's right. It's March. It's time for a tournament, and it's Malt. Malty this time. What's up, David? Throw us into the next week of Malt Madness!
Wow. Welcome to Tabletop Gold. I am your temporary golden tyrant, David Chernicoff, in charge of the podcast now because Lars has abdicated the throne.
Whoa, big claims.
Temporarily.
Shots fired.
Succession crisis incoming.
By the cast whom you've just heard from. It is Malt Madness 2025. It is Malt Madness 2025 week 2, which means we are still languishing in the round of 8. We have scarcely begun to narrow our array of malts into the single eventual winning malt, the greatest malt of all time, the GMAT. Our matchup here is the number 2 seed Malt Balls and or Whoppers, chocolate covered malt balls in marketed candy form, versus the number 7 seed Vegemite. What do you got?
Well, since we've already brought up Vegemite, can I throw my hat in on this and vote for Vegemite real quickly? That's my vote. My vote is for Vegemite.
Okay.
I recently did some research trying to figure out, because Vegemite has a reputation of being disgusting. For people who are not Australian or from New Zealand or whatever, Vegemite, Marmite, Promite, the X-mites of like condiments are seen as, are typically viewed as being something that like are gross, right? Like it's shorthand for don't eat it, it's disgusting, it's not good. So I did a bit of a deep dive on it, and I wanted to like eat it, I wanted to enjoy it, and I bought myself a little canister of Promite and started trying to train myself to eat it on toast, because it's like the recommendations are you want to do just a whisper of Promite on your toast, and then gradually you can like build up your tolerance for it, and you can like essentially do melted butter and then like a swath of Promite on the toast is,
so it's like
where
a
I got
gateway,
to.
It's a gateway Vegemite food, a gateway brewer's yeast spread.
It's more like it's such a strong flavor that they recommend that you use very, very little. So I started there and then built up my tolerance.
Got it.
I love it. I think it's like awesome. I really enjoy eating it. It's just a really tangy, bright flavor. You have to stop asking yourself what it is, because you're not going to get answers that you like. But once you move past that, I really, really enjoyed it. I think Whoppers are like middle of the road. I don't have like a strong positive or negative association with malt balls, but I really enjoyed my time eating Promite, and I would love to eat more. So that's my vote.
Interesting.
Okay. A first vote for, I've now expanded this to be Vegemite / Marmite. I'll throw Promite.
I think it's all like
in
the
there.
same stuff. It's like, there are variations. People who are connoisseurs of this stuff will tell you it's not the same, but it's like oceanic, tangy yeast spread is what we're talking about.
Yes. All right. So a first vote on the board for the number 7 seed, Vegemite, etc.
And it's
who's next?
funny you say that, Lars, about how connoisseurs will say they're different. Like the thing is, like, having lived in England, Marmite and Vegemite are considered wholly different spreads. And I have never liked Vegemite, but I do like Marmite. So by adding in Marmite to that thing, that totally changed the direction I was going to go in. I like
This is why we do
Marmite
these
on
brackets.
a crumpet. First, you lay down a nice thick layer of butter, and then that whisper of Marmite on top, and you get that salty funk. And I don't like malt balls. Actually, I've never liked them. I find them quite bland. So Vegemite, Marmite.
All right. Second
and
vote
Chromite.
for
I don't know what that is.
for Vegemite, acknowledging that this is a harder one to develop an opinion on for our remaining two panelists.
And I'll add in, so
Yes.
the Marmite, the company that makes Marmite,
Yeah.
they started advertising it under the tagline "Love it or hate it," because
Yeah,
people
it's one of
either
those things.
love it or they hate it. There's no in between.
That reminds me of the Mitch Hedberg joke about how everyone either loves me or hates me, or they think I'm just okay. Armat, I'm curious what you make of this matchup.
It is a interesting question because I have had Whoppers at some distant point in the past, because I know when I was a kid and I go out trick-or-treating on Halloween, I would receive Whoppers.
Yeah.
But then my reaction upon receiving Whoppers was always like, oh, you needn't have bothered, really. Like you.
I mean, they're not Smarties, for goodness sake. It's
No,
not that
exactly.
bad.
Smarties, or let's be clear, the obvious winner of Halloween candies, peanut butter cups.
Well, but they're somewhere. The spectrum is Smarties to peanut butter cups. They're somewhere in the middle.
All
for
right,
Yeah,
Or
everybody.
head to the Holy Grail.
Excuse me. I need to ask you all not to preempt next year's Candy Madness 2026, where we decide the best Halloween candy.
Hell
in
yes.
March.
Are we writing these
I'm
things
so
down
in.
somewhere?
Oh, I'm writing them
I
down
know we
somewhere.
had ideas for this year, and we still somehow fell into malt madness.
Listen, some things are best left decided spontaneously.
Yeah.
But so Armat, Whopper's not a favorite. So does that mean that you're leaning toward Vegemite, despite your relative lack of interaction? with it?
You know what? I actually feel like I'm obligated to vote for Whoppers. One, just to, spread out the love here a little bit, but also because I had those so long ago as a kid, and now I have a totally different palate as an adult. And there's this bit I've always loved in, I think, Natural Born Killers, where Woody Harrelson goes to a restaurant and the waitress is like, what do you want for dessert? And he's like, well, what's good here? And she's like, key lime pie. Have you ever had it? It's like, I had it once, but that was a long time ago. And I was a different man back then. And then I tried key lime pie and it blew my fucking mind. So anyway,
There you go.
yeah. So Whoppers, that totally
In
tracks,
summary, okay,
right?
yes.
That explanation made sense.
Absolutely.
For
I
you,
just
yes.
assumed that was what you were going to say. Verbatim. I appreciate that you're a new man now and that you've cast a vote for Whoppers. Zoe, I think we need to move to you. Vegemite still in the lead, but that lead has been halved. What's it going to be?
I am going to come in with a big vote for Whoppers. I can't. We've talked. I can't eat any of these things because I can't eat malt. But like I can. I remember as a kid, like I'm one of those weirdos. Clearly, in this context, like if I was at like a bulk candy store, I would get malt balls and add them into that bag of candy. Like that. Maybe it's like an umami thing. I don't know, but that like melt in your mouth. There is like a savoriness to a malt ball. I mean, there's a sweetness, but
Or it's the
Makes sense.
forbidden nature of it.
this is a little
body
unfair
knew
because
it was
I've
no
never
good.
had Vegemite and never can. But for me, it's Whoppers and malt balls all the way.
I feel like
All
that's
right.
as genuine a vote for a malt ball as a person could conceive of. I fully understand where you're coming from, and I respect your vote.
Well, I'm really upset because I really didn't want to cast a tie-breaking vote for this. I'm going to vote for Whoppers. I have had a small amount of Vegemite once. I said at the beginning that I hadn't had it because, to Armat's point, it was so long ago.
You were a different man.
You were a
I was a
different
different
man
man.
back
I basically don't know if I had it now what I would think of it, but I know that the one time I had it, I found it pretty unpalatable.
Yeah.
And I think Whoppers are fine. I have a soft spot in my heart as well because Whoppers have become our son's favorite candy.
Oh,
And so right now when I see a Whopper around, I'm like, oh, I should grab that for my boy because I love him. So I guess for those totally invalid reasons, I am voting for Whoppers. And as a result, Whoppers comes roaring back after a first half deficit.
I loved this
3-2.
conversation. I thought this was wonderful. Everyone just had something nice to say about the thing that they were voting for. Like everyone came from a place of appreciation and love. I feel like I like what a nice time that conversation was. I fully co-sign this whole thing.
I would
And I'll
also
add,
love
I feel
to
like
try.
it's just and right that a panel of 5 Americans would choose mothballs over
Yeah.
Vegemite and Marmite.
I would love to try it, though, I have to say. I would love to.
You should. It's interesting. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
I love, too, that this is the closest we've ever gotten to getting Lars to say something nice about the United Kingdom.
I'll say nice stuff about Australia and
Australia.
And
He-
New
he
Zealand
likes the
any day of the
colonies.
week. Yeah, I love the colonies. Are you kidding me? I'm a big colonies guy.
Canada, sure.
Isle of Man, absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
Falklands.
Yeah, before we
Oh,
Oh,
too
boy.
soon.
Before we get to Gibraltar, let's move on to our final matchup.
Gibraltar, more like. That's what I said.
Oh,
That's
shit.
right.
He went there.
That's right, baby. Lars, if you think I'm going to stop you from making that kind of joke, you're sorely mistaken. Our final semifinal matchup, number 3, Malt Vinegar versus number 6, Ovaltine. Ovaltine, like Vegemite, a foodstuff that I had heard of before, but did not realize involved malt until we began soliciting malted items for this bracket a couple of weeks ago. Ovaltine, of course, being a brand of milk flavoring product. That's careful wording. Made with malt extract, sugar, and whey. So yeah, this is another foodstuff that where a malt or a malted ingredient is involved in it, and so it makes the cut. Number 3, Malt Vinegar versus number 6, Ovaltine. What you got?
I'll go first. I'm happy to
please.
go first. I think I love malt vinegar. I love fish and chips. I love taking malt vinegar, putting it on a bunch of steak cut French fries. I love drizzling it on a slab of cod or whatever. I like dipping it in a sauce. I like eating it. I think it's just a really nice time. I've never had Ovaltine. In my mind, Ovaltine is for old people. It's like I'm young. I'm roughly 22 years old, and I think that malt vinegar is where my bread is buttered, baby. So that's my vote. Ding dong, Dell. Let's go.
All right. First vote. And an enthusiastic one, Ding Dong Dell, for malt vinegar. You know, for some reason, Lars, when you said the phrase slab of cod,
Yeah, baby.
I realized for the first time that you would look awesome with just a mustache.
Oh, you think I should do that? Should I do that next time?
Mustache.
Should I
Kind of
trim
think
my beard and show off my my puffy little face that I got over here?
Well,
Show a little Under Armour, if you know what I'm saying.
I just for some reason the mustache, it just struck me. Yeah, what a good looking man
I'll
you
do
are.
it. I'll throw a mustache out next week. No problem.
All
I
right.
love it.
Well, this has already borne fruit. Malt vinegar versus Ovaltine. Thoughts from the panel? Maybe Zoe, I'm curious to hear from you since you went last time.
I'm trying to, I'm just going back and forth is where I'm at. This is a very close call for me.
Uh-huh. The pendulum swings.
I have
Clash
like
of
a
the
childhood
Titans.
association with Ovaltine because we definitely had it in my house in that like 90s vibe where my parents were like, this is healthy because of whatever they claimed it had. Like we did not have Yoo-Hoo, but we had Ovaltine.
Well, sure.
So I feel about it the same way I feel about Kix cereal, which was like the only thing remotely sweet as a cereal we had in my house. Like there's a certain kind of like, yay, I get away with this. I am not sure I've ever had malt vinegar on account of, again, not being able to eat it as an adult. But I really like vinegar. David can attest. I'm a like bitter and sour person.
Yep.
Just as a human being. That's what I represent. That's what I
No,
mean.
I mean your taste
Not palate
run in that
related,
direction.
yeah.
Food.
So anyways, I'm gonna, I feel like today I want a vinegar. So I'm going malt vinegar.
Okay. A second vote for malt vinegar. So malt vinegar jumps out to an early advantage. Although echoes of our last matchup, where Vegemite did the same and was clawed back in the end, are Matt Humphreys. Malt vinegar or Ovaltine?
Okay, so I have to start off by saying Slab of Cod is my Lamb of God tribute metal band.
Smart. Some sea shanty themed Lamb of God tribute band.
Exactly. Yo ho, me hearties, we're here to play Lamb of God. I also, like Zoe, I think I've had Ovaltine as a child and like felt pretty good about it and liked it. But that description of like the fish and chips with the malt vinegar sounded really delicious to me. And I want to try that real bad now. So I'm voting malt vinegar, actually.
All right.
Yes.
A third vote for malt vinegar.
Yes.
Malt vinegar now the winner. The rest of this mere formality. Robin Lange, where do your loyalties lie here?
I guess I'm kind of glad I don't have to like split any vote, figure out like be a deciding vote because I am full 50-50 on this.
Yeah.
I definitely remember really enjoying Ovaltine, rich chocolatey Ovaltine.
Right. More Ovaltine, please.
And more Ovaltine, please. This is probably like early teens even. I was like, I would come home from like boarding school and just enjoy my Ovaltine.
Yeah.
And it also makes me think of one of my favorite Christmas movie of all time, A Christmas Story, in which Little Orphan Annie's radio show tells everyone to remember to drink your Ovaltine.
Oh.
But at the same time, man, there's nothing quite like fish and chips covered in malt vinegar.
It's so good.
I will
mix
mix malt vinegar in with my ketchup sometimes, just for French
Interesting.
fries.
What are you talking about? Why would you do that?
Because it adds like an extra kick to the vinegar. It's really good.
Stay tuned
the ketchup.
for French fry condiment madness 2027.
So here's what I'm doing.
Twist my arm.
I have my metal kobold D20.
Oh my God. It's
that
happening.
I got at Gen Con. And I'm just gonna roll, and if it's evens, it's gonna be Ovaltine, because Ovaltine is number 6. And if it's odds, it's gonna be malt vinegar, because malt vinegar is number 3. So we already have an even and odd there.
Love it.
I was really hoping you'd just roll the die without assigning any outcomes.
I'm just going to roll this die.
All right, what do we got?
I got a 10, so there's a vote for Ovaltine, guys.
Hey, I'm glad
Ovaltine does not
Ovaltine
lose out.
Got some
It's
love.
not the malto meal of this bracket.
It is not. I also cast my vote for Ovaltine, which I've had a handful of times. It wasn't quite the fixture in my household that it sounds like it was for some of you. I'm not a vinegar guy. I don't like bitter things.
You're not a fish guy either.
I'm more of a fish guy. A not too fishy fish. I can get there. Like super bitter, super sour. These things to me, these are not flavors that to eat. They don't say. It's like,
all
let's
the
put
acid
some
you can. I will just
bad tasting thing on this.
I'm a black
food.
dragon. I will take all the acid.
Yes. Well, you all can keep it. I cast my vote for Ovaltine, but it's not enough as malt vinegar advances on the strength of the first 3 votes.
What a great pair of matchups today.
Yeah.
Two wonderful
Spicy
matchups.
discussion.
Yeah.
Next week is
Or-
fascinating.
Wonderful panelists, and 2 more wonderful weeks to go in Malt Madness 2025. As next week we settle the semifinals. Number 1, malted milkshakes taking on number 4, malt liquor.
It's going to be a hell of a competition.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
2 heavyweights.
And number 2 malt balls against number 3 malt vinegar. All chalk so far. Top seeds advancing, albeit in most cases narrowly, save the dominating performance by number 4 malt liquor. Is that presaging things to come? Tune in next week to find out. Meanwhile, wow, these segues, you make them look so easy, Lars. No, wait, I got one. Okay. If you thought that was a role-playing game,
Okay. I'm intrigued to see what the other side of this transition is going to be, because it really could go anywhere.
let's get into it. Let's play our game.
Bravo.
The Calignes that live on the 8th and 9th floor of the Abomination vaults are recent transplants to this area. After a cataclysm destroyed their home city, the Caligni have been searching for a new home. Unfortunately, that new home was uncomfortably close to Belcora Haravex's massive underground fortress, and as such, you've needed to spearhead a rescue mission to extract them from danger. You've been marching eastward through the fungal forest dominating the so-called hunting grounds. And just as you approached a passageway that the Caligni could use to search for a new home, you were waylaid by a huge warband of Erdeffins. These transparent-skinned hunters demand that blood be spilled, and you're working to keep their wishes from coming true. And guess what? We're in quite a combat, everybody. Here's the situation. This is, we're straining the boundaries of what this system is capable of representing within its rule set. We have like a 3-army conflict right now. We have the 4 of you. We have like 7 Caligni and then maybe 7 more Erdeffins. We have been trying to tell communicate the explosive nature of this combat with like as engaging a narrative style as possible, but it's just tricky. It's just a hard time when there are 24 people in the initiative tracker and they all have the same name and have the same haircut. It's just a little. Go
Lars,
ahead.
I'm really glad that you said that because I feel that this would be challenging under any circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
The underlying thing that's going on, the number of new groups that have been introduced in relatively rapid fashion in the story is already, and how they all we were introduced to like a single member of each of them at different points earlier, and now they've been backed up by like their entire civilization.
Yeah.
Like, but recently they're all fighting with each other. It's all very political. It would be so helpful if like maybe they each had a different color background in the character art. You know, so we got some like red circles and some blue circles and some yellow circles.
Oh, there's probably a way for that to be done, David. Dude, I'm
not. This is not like a swipe at you or something for how you're set. I'm just saying they're all little kind of underground, gaunt, cool, like elfy, kind of translucent elfy guys with like, and they're like all kind of hot and you know, I'm just
I don't think
they're not like that snake lady from the 7th level. But
I don't think nobody is. Who is? I don't think that you're wrong. The way that it's confusing. It's like the Caligni that you're helping are kind of like Mortal Kombat characters. Right. And the Erdeffins that you're fighting are kind of like Final Fantasy characters. And if those are distinctions that are meaningless to you, like, I'm really sorry. That's the best vocabulary that I've got to communicate this thing.
Which is why colors came to mind.
Yeah, I think colors would have been great. You know, I don't mean to undersell it too aggressively. It's just I'm foregrounding the challenge because I think that it's maybe helpful for the listener to know, like, we're telling the story of this huge conflict that's playing out right now.
Yeah.
And this game is built to give players agency to do cool stuff more than it is built to like simulate huge conflicts like the one that we're doing right now.
That makes sense.
But yeah, David, I appreciate your patience. I hope that we're going to. I think the tide of this thing is going to turn quickly, and it's also not as though my hands are tied. Like, things are going to progress. Things are going to change relatively rapidly.
I'm not upset with what's happening right now. I like watching you play all of these. I would listen to a podcast that was just you having giant Pathfinder.
Just me playing with my toys.
You
Absolutely,
back and forth,
dude.
Mm-hmm.
No irony here whatsoever. So I'm perfectly happy with it.
I have a good time doing it. I'm just like so aware of how much time it takes. This is basically what it comes down to, is like doing this quickly. The challenge is doing it quickly while doing it dramatically is really where everything comes down. But anyway, let's just move on. Let's
Sure,
get into
yeah.
it. This situation is more complicated by Armet, who made the choice of casting this huge time bubble in the middle of this goddamn fight, and so now everybody's moving in slow motion.
Well, I was streamlining your decision process. Now they only have 2 actions. That saves us time.
And I think that there honestly is something to that. The problem is that you set the time bubble up right on the edge of the mud, which when they run out of it is going to slow their advances down more. And like you're essentially, this time bubble that you've set up right on this like rocky shore leading into this like swamp that Ravarek set up for everybody is it's like a slowing zone right next to a slowing zone. And I'm going to try to dump these guys out from one slow area into an whatever. There's nobody's benefiting from this negativity. Let's move on.
Great.
Here's the deal. Ao is slow too. What she did on her turn. Zoe, thanks for hanging out for 45 minutes to get to this point. She pulled out a pudding.
Pulled out a pudding. Pulled out a pud.
Just pulling that pud over there.
Grosser, but here we are.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay, so this Caligny defender that is just north of Trill leaps into action to try to continue, to try to maintain a strong front. They're going to scoot just past Podley and attempt to hide within one of these outcroppings of fungus. And now that they have disappeared, they reach out with a short sword and strike out at this Erdeffin. That is a 35 to hit, which is a critical hit by 16. So the Erdeffin's going to take critical damage. That's 28 points of damage to this weird little robe-wearing Erdeffin. And then they apply poison for some reason on their strike. I'm going to make a fortitude save because that's just what we're doing. And they pass their fortitude save. Okay, it's now Dulok's turn. Dulok, you may recall, Dulok is the former leader of the Earthagul cult. She has just recently been shown the error of her ways, and she calls out to Galudu, "Galudu, let us make up for lost time." And she runs and tries to flank the same Erdeffin tormentor that her friend just attacked. And she is going to swing her war flail out. Whew! And that's a 1 on the die, everybody. Do-do-do-do-do. Fumble card. Do-do-do-do-do. Do I get the ace of spades? It's the 2 of spades. It's just a regular old hit. That was I drew the wrong side of the thing. It's a 6. Okay, great. I actually don't even know what's happening anymore.
I feel like this is because it's just so much of Lars just talking through a bunch of things that if you're listening especially is so hard to visualize.
It's great.
That fumble card was like the least interesting fumble card ever.
Yeah. No, it's a mess. We should suspend it. Dulok then swings another sword, swings her war flail out one more time, gets a 33 critical hit, and here's how much damage it is that she slams into this Erdeffin as she shouts out like, "Galudu, I will protect you." 40 points of damage, which kills this Erdeffin tormentor. When the Erdeffin tormentor dies, it explodes in a 5-foot emanation, and everybody around it needs to take 13 points of void damage.
These guys explode too?
Yes, they do.
Fun.
They sure do.
So which one just died? Which one just died?
This weird little Erdeffin tormentor.
So that doesn't
So
affect
everybody needs to make a fortitude save?
everybody?
No,
just
just
people.
5 foot. Okay.
Yeah,
Like
sorry.
Podley and Dulok and
The only people I care about, and I appreciate that you guys are hanging out here for this encounter. The only people in this encounter I care about are Dulok, Podley, and Galudu. Those are the 3 people that I'm paying any attention to. The rest of you, honestly, I don't even know why you logged into the call.
Oh,
tonight.
because some of them could die, which would affect the story.
yeah.
That's right.
We do have actual characters
It's
besides
so
our own.
true. Yes.
Oh, I hadn't even
so
thought about that.
Galudu
Who
passes.
do we want to live?
Galudu wants to live. And Podley has gotten beaten up pretty badly. One of the supporting Caligni, Podley and Duloc, each pass their fortitude save and will take half damage. So they take 6 points of damage. Galudu critically succeeds and takes no damage. That's it for Duloc's turn. It is now another Caligni defender's turn. And what that means is that they're going to rush. They set up post just outside the time bubble, and they start shooting their short bow. That's right, ranged attacking. A 1 on the die. Ba-doo-da-doo-doo. Fumby-doo. 'Cause it's Christmas too. It's a 10. Here comes another strike with the short bow. It's a 12 on the die. That's gonna hit. The little dork takes... I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard to make this a thing. Takes 9 points of damage. The Erdefin Tormentor in the time bubble is going to go. They're slowed. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to run out of the time bubble to set up and attack Galudu. They run underneath a little bit of a huge mushroom that's been sprouting out of the ground, and they bite Galudu. It's a 13 on the die. It's a 27 to hit. That misses. They bite again. Never mind, they're slowed. They don't do anything. It is the turn of the Erdefin Blood Mage. This is a spellcaster. They are slowed 1, so they can cast a spell. And get ready, strap in. What they're going to do is they are going to cast Dimension Door to get out of the time bubble. They translocate and appear in the mud. That's it for their turn. The Erdefin Tormentor that's in the middle of the time bubble, they are not slowed. They have all 3 actions. And what they're going to do is they're going to run right up to Mag, passing through a space where a reactive strike might happen.
Yeah, they sure are.
Mag sees this weird little creep run out of the mushroom. Is just going, ah, 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 ah.
28 to hit.
That's a hit.
Ooh. That was a hefty little damage roll. No, one of those 23 damage.
23 damage. And as this creature stands right in front of Mag, getting slalomed, that's a noun, that's a verb, in the slalomed right in the chops by the Earthbreaker. They try to bite her. That's a 3 on the die, a 17 to hit. And that's the end of round 1, everybody.
We made it.
Incredible.
We made it. And Erdefin Lasher is down. And that's... both of the... Erdefin Lasher is down and the Erdefin Tormentor is down. You get the sense that the Erdefins are a little bit shaken by the fact that they have lost... they were not expecting this amount of resistance. They seem a little bit shaken that they have lost people here in this fight. And you get the sense that if they were to lose maybe a couple more of their combatants, they would flee. You see that their interest in fighting this fight has been shaken. Do with that what you will. But at the top of round 2, it is Trill's turn. Trill is standing right on the edge of a muddy, like a black tar-filled swamp. And there's just a row of like 12 combatants right on the edge of a time bubble right in front of her. What is Trill going to do?
So if I wanted to move there, so there's a spot, it's the edge of that time bubble. Does that mean that Trill would then only have 2 actions?
You will make a save at the beginning of your next turn to see if the time bubble has an effect on you.
But so for this turn, she'd still have 3 actions.
Correct.
Okay, let's do that. So Trill's going to move there. Trill's going to pull out something that she hasn't really used before, because I want to be able to shoot in a line and get rid of these guys. So she's got this lovely level 4 or 4th rank spell called Inner Radiance Torrent.
Ooh,
that sounds spicy.
For that in the chat.
IRT.
So I'm doing the most basic one, which is just 2 actions. You could, in theory, make this last 2 rounds to make it massive. So I'm just going to do the regular 2 actions, though, going through the 2 little ones right in front of her.
Yeah.
And that's going to end up creating a storm of bolts and beams that deal 4d4 force to all creatures in that 60-foot line, and they have to attempt a basic reflex save.
Okay,
So-
I love this. Huge spell.
So I'm going to roll that damage,
Yeah.
and that will be 20 points of damage. They've got to do a DC 27 reflex.
Okay, they both try to dodge out of the way. One rolls a 19. The other one rolls a 17, critically failing.
Hell yeah.
On a critical failure, they're also blinded for a round.
Oh boy. That's fun. Because the light of your inner radiance torment blinds them? Is that what you're telling me?
Torrent.
What did I say? Torment?
Torment.
That's what I'm feeling right now.
Freudian slip.
On a critical failure, they're blinded for a round.
Yeah.
So this light flies out from Trill's magic, and one of them starts screaming and grabbing his eyes, but in slow motion because we're in a time bubble.
Don't look, Marion. Look away. Close your eyes. Remember?
And also-
I love that. Yeah.
Things I need to remember is if there's ever magical darkness, I can actually try and counteract it with inner radiance torrent.
I love it. What a cool spell.
Yeah.
Here we
Trill. A
And
Trill,
another
huge
and
turn.
another thing for Robin to remember: when this is over, could you please clip Lars doing that thing that he just did and send it to me as a gift?
Okay. As this shock of like white magic bursts out, light magic bursts out across the battlefield, one of these Calignes sees that there's an injured or deafened tormentor, and they are going to swing down to the southern edge of the combat arena and just start shooting shortbow bolts. First up, that's a 34 to hit. That is critical damage, which is going to do a total of 31 points of damage to the closest or deafened to Trill. And then another strike with the shortbow as they do a 1 on the die.
Wow, this has been rough for you, huh?
It's the 3 of spades. There are
Love it, it's like a
2
lounge
spades
app.
left in this deck, by the way. I just want you to know that.
Oh yeah, we're
50
whipping our way through
chance.
that
Nice.
deck there.
Yeah. The Urdefen Tormentor that was just hit by that crossbow starts freaking out on this on Trill. They're like, you can't. They scream at you. They're like, no, as they're not blinded, so they're going to be, and they're not slowed, so they swing out to try to punish Trill for
The one right in front of her?
Yeah.
Wouldn't the one right in front of her be the one that was blinded?
I mean, I don't think so. I looked at which one critically failed the thing. I think it was the other one.
Oh, yeah,
but
no, I'm wrong. Yeah, you're right.
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Sorry, I guess
but
that one's just been smacked by someone else already because I noticed it was badly injured.
They haven't. They just got shot twice with a crossbow, with a short bow. So they try to bite you. That's a 23. They try to bite you again. That's a 20. And then they...
Yeah, those all missed, yeah.
Then they try to run away, triggering a reactive strike from Isthan.
Yes, please. 19 on the die for a 37.
That is a critical hit by 18.
Oh, good. Nearly a double-double.
Nearly a double-double.
That is 22 points of damage.
Okay, that causes this Urdefen to explode in a shower of necrotic energy. As they die, I need everybody who is surrounding them to potentially take 5d6 void damage. That's 22 points of void damage. I need saves from Isthan, Trill, and Ao. And let me just drop that save onto that. I need fortitude saves from all of you.
Ooh.
As this Urdefen, the surviving Urdefen, this blinded Urdefen, one of the Calignes, and then the 3 of you all need to tell me how it is that you're withstanding the necrotic decay of this Urdefen tormentor.
Can I, what episode is this?
This is 189.
I'm going to actually use a hero point.
Great.
Because I only got a 3 on the die. And that wasn't much better.
So one of these Erdeffins takes full damage. That is 0 damage for them to take because they're immune to this damage type. The Caligny takes no damage because they passed their save. Ao, it looks like, takes no damage because she passed her save. So Istin and Trill are going to take half and double of these 22 points of void damage respectively.
Wait, I take only half?
Istin takes half and Trill takes double.
Why do I take double, though?
I don't know.
The cruel
You take
twist of
regular.
fate.
Don't
Yeah,
worry
wouldn't it
about
just be
You take
regular? Because I was
damage.
only 3 under.
You take regular damage. I'm just listen. There's a lot of stuff happening. Okay.
We're here to
At
help.
this point, if you'll allow me, I think the Erdeffins, enough of these Erdeffins have died that they start screaming like "cuckoo, cuckoo, fall!" like "Nang nang bonobo, nang nang bonobo," and they look like they are about to retreat back to their home. Will you let them do this, or will you chase them? And will we continue doing combat?
We have 2 options. We could let them go so that then they can go and tell Kerfell how frightening we are. So maybe Kerfell will be more willing to negotiate when we find him.
Right.
Or we chase after them to piss off Lars.
Well, when you put it like that,
Yeah.
if we've made a big enough impression in battle, I assume that we would just let them go. Right? We didn't come here to do this, right? We came here to.
We were escorting the Caligny.
Yeah. So I think Mischief managed, right?
I like that.
And isn't there something fun about watching people try to run away from you in slow motion? Isn't that something that we all get to like enjoy together? That we can sort of narrate together the idea of these Erdeffins like.
Hate to see him go, but love to see him walk away.
Okay, well, I wasn't saying that they had nice butts, Robin. I don't understand what we're talking.
I wasn't either. I was saying it's
what do
fun
you
to
mean that's not
watch.
what? Okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure that means nice butt, Robin.
I thought it meant nice butt. What do I know?
They got
I
nice
haven't been
butts
around
too,
a lot of
okay?
time bubbles. Okay.
Yeah.
Butts are
They
great.
actually, and like honestly, in your defense, these various belt-wearing, fashion clothes horses are they're not terrible to look at.
There's so
I
many
think we all
belts and
agree.
belt buckles.
There really are.
I'm here for their commitment.
Yes.
They never show the character art is only ever the fronts.
That's right.
We have no
An
idea.
oversight, really, by the design crew.
Yeah, we don't know whether we're enjoying watching them go or not. We know
Yeah.
whether or
They
not
might
we're
have what
watching them arrive.
various Gen Z people I've been led to believe call a gyat. They might have a gyat, and we will never know.
A gyat.
It's just one of the
Yeah.
many mysteries of Galarian.
Did you not know about gyat, David?
A good yucking.
So my understanding is that gyat is short for get your act together.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it's like you see somebody whose butt is really nice or whatever, and you're like, you start like social graces fall away, and your peer group is like, dude, gyat, get your act together.
Yeah, but the problem is, I mean, I usually see it with 2 T's.
Yeah. Together.
I don't know. I still
Maybe
go.
that's wrong.
I think it's supposed to come from like "gat damn,"
Oh, that's probably what it is. I'm so old,
but
everybody.
I still prefer badonkadonk. Donk donk
You
donk
prefer
donk.
badonkadonk. Well,
yes,
guess
which
what?
is an acronym that means get your no. I don't.
Badonk donk donk.
Okay, so can we let these guys go, please?
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, sick.
Please.
Please?
Lars.
Can Lars not do this anymore?
So these are Erdeffins. I think that they all understand that the tide of battle has turned. They don't face much of a chance. They thought that they were going to be able to face these Calignies without any additional defense. It turns out the Calignies patched things up. There are more of them than they were expecting, and also there are the 4 of you who are ready to lead the Calignies on to like safety on the far end of these hunting grounds. So the Erdeffin attack team sort of feebly sprints their way off through the time bubble. You, I believe, managed to kill 3 or 4 of them, and I think that you feel pretty satisfied that were you to face them again, that they would be worse, significantly worse off for that. Like you've softened the Erdeffin horde to some extent, and they they scramble away, licking their wounds. And that is the end of that.
I like to think that as they run away, a couple of us are like very slowly trying to make our way out of the time bubble.
Yeah, Mag walks into the time bubble just because she's curious what it is going to feel like in there. She very slowly moves into it and raises a hand up to her face, turns it around slightly, lowers it, steps back out of the time bubble. Just curious what it feels like.
Yeah.
I would do it. I would go into a time bubble. Would the four of you, would you go into a time bubble given the chance? I feel like we have David's answer.
Without a
This
question.
I would love to.
I want to know if the map on this is the same as the time we asked ourselves if we'd make out with ourselves if given the option. Somehow it feels, I don't know, there's like a daring do that I feel like.
Wow, I wonder if our answers have changed. We're all different people than we used to be.
We are
I
all
would make
different
out with
people.
myself in a time bubble.
Oh, interesting. Oh, but maybe
interesting.
Oh gosh, I have a lot of questions.
Let's pause the show.
We should pause it. So the Calignes turn towards you as it becomes clear that the Erdeffans have run off, and they, Galudu, sits down for a second, collecting her thoughts, then stands up and throws her arms around Podley. She says, I had forgotten what a fierce fighter you were. I'm glad that we reunited. I'm glad that whatever the next chapter of our story is, that we're able to write it together. And Podley nods at Galudu and says, I as well. They turn towards the four of you and they say, hopefully there are no more interruptions and we're able to continue forward. Would you mind leading us just a short distance more? I feel as though we are nearly out of danger.
Mag, do you want to lead the way? Because you're kind of still glowing?
Mag starts to lead the way.
It's a strange experience, maybe, that you're leading the way through a swamp that has been the playground of this creature that has been so singularly, focused on Mag through her life. And I don't know if it means much to Mag that this is happening, but the fact that this area, as you're trudging through it, as you feel the thick muck threaten to pull your boots off as you move step by step by step closer and closer to the edge of this swamp, that you're able to help this group use this area to move on. That it feels personal, perhaps, because of the various totems meant to specifically torment you, but the threat that is right behind those totems is gone. And it's almost as though the Caligni will never understand that. They'll never have a sense of what it is that Mag went through. They'll never have a sense of the true personal evil that was presented by Ravarex. To them, this swamp is just another kind of another facet, another aspect of the dangers lurking down here below the surface. And so there's a quiet sort of consideration as people are still looking out for attackers. And Mag is able to step by step lead the 8 remaining Caligni to the edge of Ravarex's swamp, where a turn in the passageway leads into the darkness. And Duloc turns towards Mag and turns towards the rest of you and says, you've done more for us than we were owed. And I hope that fortune smiles upon you. I hope the remainder of your quest is short. And I hope that you find everything you're looking for. Just as I hope we find our new home. Thank you.
Good luck.
No more money?
Yeah. Were we supposed to get anything else? Was that everything?
We gave you the thing.
Yeah, Istin
God damn
takes the wand out and casts Mountain Resilience for 50% more time on Galudu. That's right, just so you don't, stub a
Aw.
toe or anything,
Maybe have like just one more of those muffins. I'm just so curious about them. Like, where does that flavor come from?
Ao, annoyed,
Galudu.
rolls her eyes and wanders off looking for treasure.
Galudu pulls her mask down to reveal her face, and she smiles at you. It's a soft, warm smile. She reaches into her pouch, tosses a muffin at Trill, and looks at her stone skin and says, "Thank you." And the Calignes disappear into the passageway in front of them.
Oh,
Nice. That's a satisfying wrap up.
Not even like
Yeah.
5 gold?
They were starving and had nothing.
Mag reaches into a pouch at her belt and pulls out a 5 gold piece and tosses it to Ao.
Ao bites it to make sure it's real, and then sort of casually sticks it in her bandolier.
That's right. Ao has the lens imbued, so she's all cranky.
Oh, true. Yes.
Right.
great
So
point.
this
I was
all
gonna say,
tracks.
She's been a piece of work.
I was just being myself, but now I got to be angry at myself. Thanks for the reminder.
But to me, that's a question. Do we want to go up to the service to have Rin look at that thing? Or I defer to the group, of course.
Well, I used up all of Trill's 4th and 5th rank spell slots. So I wouldn't mind getting a night's rest before we go off into the continuing great unknown. I know we need to go to that treasure vault. We need to deal with Kerfell. So personally, I like the idea of taking Mark back to Otari.
I do think Ao would be pretty itchy to go to the treasure vault.
But then, because then we can also talk to Rin about the lens.
Hmm.
And I think Trill would make that point to Ao.
Well, you can find out even more about it from Rin.
But the treasure vault's right here. I mean, Rin is back there, and we have that whole dish fight going on. And right now, I am not in the mood for dishes, Trill. I am not in the mood for dishes.
I will make sure you don't have to do dishes. But we don't know where the treasure. We know the treasure vault is somewhere around here, but we don't know where exactly. We don't know what's there waiting for us.
Ao crosses her arms and narrows her
Wouldn't
eyes.
you rather be prepared so we're successful?
Narrows her eyes at Trill. Goes, so you're saying you'll do all the dishes?
I didn't say that. I said I'll make sure you don't have to do the dishes.
Is anyone ever really in the mood to do dishes? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it's
is
the
that a
worst. It's the
thing?
worst household chore. If you find
sometimes
someone to
it's-
do the dishes for you, you should be eternally grateful for them.
Sometimes it's kind of zen.
Right. There is occasionally a soothing part of it. Yeah.
But only sometimes.
Only sometimes. Yeah, not all the time.
Mag is intently examining like rock formations on the wall, and she says to no one in particular, "Suppose we could sell some of this adamantine and hire someone to do the dishes."
Oh, that's an idea.
Heck, you're brilliant.
Or we could use it to construct a golem that could never be broken by the dishes it was doing.
I like all
I
of
mean,
it.
it's just an idea. I'm sure I can work on it for a
I bet Rin
bigger
would be down
pitch.
for a dish golem.
Right?
Can we fight it? Ao says, suddenly getting all jazzed up again.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to Rin's. We're going to fight a golem, and Trill's
Okay.
going to do the dishes.
Got it. Okay, very good. So, the 4 of you start pushing your way back towards Otari. It's been a while, is all I'm going to say. swing by Ildaris to pick Mark up, I assume.
Yeah.
And you start the long process of moving up out of the dungeon. And here's what happened since the last time you went to Otari. You survived an onslaught from a pair of blood-red puffballs on a bridge above an impossibly deep chasm. You nearly fell into the trap of our gargantuan spider. You uncovered a guard post packed with friendly drow and traveled to their hunting lodge. You met with Quara or Shendiel, the leader of the drow, and learned more about the mysterious lenses that could prove to be the key to defeating Belcora Haravex once and for all. You just barely survived the attack of another pair of puffballs, these shaped like grinning white skulls. You discovered a devourer of souls lurking within a decaying boathouse. You met with a group of Caligny refugees who were penned in by the dangers of this untamed wilderness. You tracked down and defeated the black dragon Ravarex and rescued Mark, your friend from the Otari town guard. You fended off an ambush from a band of Urdeffins attempting to take advantage of your fallen friend Mag's inability to defend herself. You snagged Belcora Haravex's crimson fulcrum lens from Earthagal, a gug trapped in the prismatic clutches of a mysterious cave, and you escorted a mixed group of Caligny refugees away from the dangers of the hunting grounds to help them forge a new future in a new home. And as you consider all of these accomplishments, you work your way through the swamp, through the forest, down the hill leading back to Otari, and you can see the sun setting up over the inner sea as you finally get back to town at around 7:30 at night. Mark turns to you and he says, I wasn't sure I'd ever see home again. I didn't know it was ever going to look this beautiful. It really is a nice place, isn't it? Otari?
I think it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's home.
Be better if there weren't a dish-doing golem we had to fight. Ao shouts nonsensically from the back.
Hey, we haven't made the golem yet. Or golem.
Be better if someone had made the dish-doing golem that we were then going to fight so that we could fight it. She corrects herself.
Don't look at me. I'm just an idea man, you know?
Well, Mark, it means a lot to us that we brought you home. You're a dear friend. You've helped us out a lot, and I'm glad you're okay.
Same. Thanks.
Yeah. Even if Ao did sell the dagger named after you.
I think it was a whole sword. I don't think it was just a dagger. I think
Oh, yeah, it was
actually
big.
a
It was
sword.
super
It was a
shiny.
whole
I just
sword.
didn't value it that much.
I mean, they're all big when I look at them.
So you drop Mark off at the Otari garrison, and as you're swinging back towards Rin's Wonders, you see him jump up and throw his arms around Lardis Longsaddle. And maybe in the distance as Longsaddle is contending with the idea that Mark is back, you see like a tear pass through Longsaddle's eye. He turns. As the sun is disappearing into the sea, the shadows are overtaking the Otari garrison. And Longsaddle, maybe you see a nod towards you. Maybe you hear a faint "thank you" between the sounds of this reunion. You step towards Rin's Wonders. Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
There's chores to do.
Better to get them done.
Rin sees you approaching. She looks at Ao and she says, "You found one of the lenses. I see it at your side. Incredible work. How hard was it to find this thing?"
It wasn't easy, and it involved a gug.
Yeah, what she said. Ao says argumentatively, even though there's nothing to argue with.
Impressive. Are you interested in doing a reading of the stars?
Always.
Absolutely.
Unless the stars say I have to do dishes. I'm not doing dishes, Ren.
We'll see what the stars say about that.
Ao narrows her eyes and her stance tightens.
I got you, Ao.
Rin climbs up a ladder to a platform up at the top of the tent that she lives in. And you see her pull out a telescope, and she points it to the sky. And she says, Good. Tonight will be a good night for this. In half an hour or so, the light from the sun will be gone, and the stars will shine on us, and we'll be ready to do the reading. Ao, I need your help. Can you help me with this? Even if you won't help me with the dishes.
It's sort of like a sulky toddler. Ao like nods her head without saying anything.
Okay.
Trill tugs at Iston's sleeve.
I don't think we're going to get around to making that golem. Let's go do the dishes.
They somehow knew it was going to come down to us, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
We're pushovers, and they go start digging up some of the dishes from the backyard.
You know, if she just rinsed them beforehand, this wouldn't nearly be as daunting.
In fast motion, as Iston and Trill dig these dishes up and are tending to them, the stars whoosh, fly in from across the inner sea. By the time these dishes are done, you look up and it is this like scintillating, incredibly complex system of constellations and stars floating above you. Rin, as everything takes its place, turns towards Ao and says, Will you allow me to take the lens?
For a little, maybe yeah, okay, for a little bit. And Ao sort of like quickly hands it to her.
And she sets it down in the middle of the area of the tent, right? The circular tent. The moment Ao drops this thing, I think you'd feel the emotional change on your body. Like you're no longer magically affected by
Maybe she's like even like panting very slightly.
Rin looks towards Ao and says, That thing has started to do quite a number on you, Ao. You should be careful with it.
Ao sort of shrugs, less angry and more classic teenager.
Okay. So there's some more ritual setting up to get this star reading ready to go. It's roughly 8:30, 8:45, as everything is set. And Rin turns to Ao and says, Ao, look to the stars and tell me what you see. Give me a blind astrology lore check, please.
Oh my goodness, guys, a moment for organic
yes.
usage of the astrology lore. This,
That's
Lars,
so bad.
honestly, can we just end the
Lars.
show here?
Lars, you're such a good GM.
This is it. We've gotten where we need to go.
Okay. So I've got your check. I would like it if everybody could please check their email. If you wouldn't mind pulling your email up.
I'm nervous. What's going to happen? Is it an email that I have from a friend asking me to pre-order their book? Is that what you sent?
My personal email or my astrology?
It's in your. It should have been routed straight to your astrology lore email, if that's okay.
This is fun.
I am so hyped about this. This looks amazing.
So as Ao looks to the stars and considers what it is that's happening, what the patterns being reflected between the different patterns of constellations, a light sort of starts wrinkling across the sky as you look up into the heavens above you. I've just recently sent everybody a script to tell you what happens as this vision plays out in front of you as you gaze up at the stars. You see a surreal scene playing out in front of you. A surreal scene where the acting is very strange, as though the actors in the scene are reading the script for the first time and have had no time to prepare their lines whatsoever. There's a sort of confused, like, halting sort of sensibility to the performances
What an
that are
unusual
happening.
creative circumstance.
This is amazing.
That as the stars sort of fade away and a scene takes place in front of you. This first scene of this star reading, as you lie down on the dirt and look up at the stars in front of you. This first scene takes place at the Haravex Manor in Absalom. We are looking at the exterior of the Haravex Manor, the wealthy Petal district of Absalom. The year is 4218 Absalom reckoning, just over 500 years before our time. Horses and carriages arrive and deposit wealthy partygoers for a celebration of a high-profile urban renewal program, including the building of orphanages, schools, and public libraries, all paid for by the Haravexes. The slender urban manor house features a short flight of tan stone stairs leading to an ornately crafted wrought iron door, which a steady procession of guests is slipping into. We move quickly through the foyer of Haravex Manor, pushing past guests, handing their fur coats to some of the Haravex family's staff, before pausing for a moment to observe a warm greeting between Harold Haravex, the family's patriarch, and Marna of House Slavikes, Absalom's primarch. Harold speaks first. He has a bright smile and thinning black hair.
Ah, Marna, I am so pleased you were able to make it to this little celebration. To have the city's ruler present will surely guarantees that Eridan will lift this heavy project to the heights of success.
Marna, the primarch, embraces Haravex with zeal.
Harold, the people of Absalom would be lost without the Haravexes. The least I can do is enjoy some of your food and drink on their behalf.
The two enjoy a laugh as we move past them through a swinging door into a kitchen and pantry. A caterer passes back and forth, dictating the game plan for tonight to a line of young workers standing at attention. We see one of these nervously repeating his tasks to himself. This is his first day on the job.
Cycle through the foyer in the reading room, take drink orders, bring orders to the bar. Repeat. Cycle through the foyer in the reading room, take drink orders, bring orders to the bar. Repeat. Cycle through the foyer in the reading room.
As his voice fades, we move beyond the caterers through the kitchen past an expertly orchestrated team of chefs preparing soups, roasts, and other delicacies. We then take a swift right turn through another swinging door to where the evening's musicians are tuning up. One of the performers is nervously tuning her flute. She turns to an older performer to steady her nerves.
You know, I've never had a paying gig before. People say the Haravexes are really nice, though, so I bet it'll be fine, right?
The older musician winces, nearly imperceptibly, at the young flutist as we move up a winding staircase and then through another door into the residential chambers of the Haravex family. After a hairpin left turn, we push through a heavy wooden door into the doll-covered pink wallpapered bedroom of the Haravex's youngest daughter. She is Belcora, far too young to be this weary. Bored of the play she and her cousin Amaranth are engaging in with the help of a gargantuan, beautifully handcrafted dollhouse. Belcora speaks first.
Yes, I suppose we can once more prepare breakfast.
Belcora, please. It's not like I have this dollhouse at home, and I so rarely get to see you. Can't you at least pretend like you're having a nice time?
Fine. Oh, look at us, preparing yet another lovely breakfast for yet another lovely spring day.
Amaranth pouts at her cousin's inability to extend herself.
Belcora, you are just no fun.
I'm plenty fun. I just don't like being shoved into this bedroom pretending I don't exist for the 4th time this week while the entire downstairs is filled with the same tired old people eating the same food, drinking the same drinks, and giving each other the same smiles to congratulate each other for the same meaningless accomplishments they did the previous 3 times.
Well, at least things happen in your house.
Do you know what might be extremely fun?
What?
Well, what if we just dart down to the basement and play down there?
Your father told us that we aren't to go in the basement.
You're boring. Everyone's busy, and there's nobody to catch us right now. And anyway, if we're playing hide and seek, you're probably not playing very well if a grown-up finds you. Unless you're afraid.
No, of course I'm not afraid. It's
just nothing. Come on.
Ugh.
Belcora grabs her cousin's hand, and they sneak down the stairs past the kitchen, the caterers, and the musicians, and into the Haravex Manor's basement. It's a sprawling, multi-floor section of the house, far wider than the walls of the above-ground portion. On the upper levels of this basement, the floors are made up of shiny white tiles and plaster walls. But as the girls explore, their search for progressively more clever hiding places pushes them into areas of the basement that are less finished. A patchwork of walls from past eras of Absalomian architecture make up the furthest reaches of the basement below Haravex Manor, where the 2 girls play games deep into the evening.
Belcora! I give up. Where are you hiding?
Belcora steps out from behind a crumbled wall, smiles, and waves to her cousin.
Here I am. That's, let's see, 15 points for me and 4 for you.
Fine. It's not fair, though. You live here.
Quiet. Someone is coming.
The 2 girls hide in Belcora's winning hiding spot and watch as a group of masked figures walks past, carrying 2 struggling people with bags over their heads. 4 of the masked figures each carry a beautiful but heavy-looking stained wooden case, each case bearing a weathered metal latch in the shape of a moss-covered skull.
Belcora?
Shh! Come on.
Belcora and her cousin stealthily slip into a large chamber behind the masked figures and watch as a sinister ritual begins. The leader of the masked men raises a heavy chain above his head and begins to speak.
May the blood released by the force of this chain provide sustenance to the empty death and bring her ever closer.
The masked figures remove the bags from the faces of the 2 people they've been holding in bondage. It's the young flute player and the caterer who we saw earlier. Fear passes across their eyes as those in masks begin chanting.
O empty death, let this poor, insignificant soul bear 7 marks and pour 7 drops of blood, just as Pharasma herself bears a 7-pointed wound to show how she succumbed to your hunger.
The masked figures settle the wooden cases on the ground, gently opening them to reveal beautiful glass lenses, 4 in all, each with a stain of a different color wriggling within the glass. Velvet-gloved hands gingerly pull the lenses from the cases and carry them to the center of the room, clicking them into place in circular indentations in the floor.
Just as the Lady of Graves slaked your thirst, so shall these mortals that we give unto you.
We see the eyes of the 2 girls as a violent ritual begins. After a few moments, Amaranth turns away, while Belcora continues to look as shadows flicker on the wall behind them. Her eyes widen, first with interest, and eventually with excitement at the ritual, the details of which are left to our imaginations. Our viewpoint shifts from Belcora's gradually opening pupil to one of the large lenses set into the floor. As the ritual reaches its culmination, the writhing colors within the lenses start pulsing arrhythmically, and shimmering blue light bursts out from them. The shadows behind Belcora and Amaranth twist into inhuman angular shapes before silence overtakes the room once more.
Belcora, what was...
The young girl's voice reaches across the room as the leader of the masked men removes his face covering. Belcora squints into the darkness.
Father.
The face behind the mask is that of Harold Haravex himself. His head twitches as he hears the voice come from across the room.
What is that? Who's there? Come out at once!
Belcora steps forward into the dim, torchlit basement.
Oh. My dear precious Belcora, you were to stay in your room!
Father, what is this?
This... You were not meant to see this.
What you did to those two? How could you do?
The elder Haravex kneels down, snapping one of the lenses out of its holder, and extends it to his daughter.
How could we? With the power this provides us? How could we not?
Harold makes a motion with his hands, and the figures behind him all unmask. Belcora looks from person to person in the room and recognizes her mother, her uncle, her eldest brother, and cousins from throughout the Haravex family.
Please, it's okay. Take it.
Harold holds the lens out to Belcora, who tentatively extends her fingers to the shiny glass surface. The faintest blue light arcs from the lens to her delicate fingertips. Harold and the other Haravexes murmur in delight.
And if I can add a little gesture here, he reaches out and strokes and neatens his daughter's hair. You are a special one, my sweet Belcora. I didn't expect this day to come so soon, but now that it has, I can start to tell you of the great things in your future. This power, my dear, it is your birthright.
My birthright?
Harold throws his arms around Belcora and squeezes her tight with pride.
I do so love you, my dear.
If Belcora hears her father, she does not show any sign of it. Her gaze is locked on her fingertips, continuing to watch the blue energy oozing from the lens.
Yeah.
We leave this scene as Harold scoops his daughter up in his arms. We see successive flashes of Harold's face, tears of joy running down his cheeks, and Belcora, her stony gaze permanently locked on the lenses in the middle of the room. And the scene slips away from the stars above you, and another scene starts to take shape. But we will pick up from there next time.
Oh.
This is so awesome!
I love this.
What a calm little family scene. Just a family hanging out and sharing hobbies.
Right. Family that slays together stays together.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated fan content policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. The Roots of Ruin is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in The Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Visit our website, tabletopgold.com, to learn more about us and our shows, join the Golden Horde to get access to more shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.